Crypto headwinds or resistance have turned into full-on support, and we're covering it right now. Today, we're going to be talking about all of the amazing things the Orange Man is doing for our crypto bags. I cannot explain how insane the temperature has shifted for crypto. We have done a 180-degree turn, just literally like a rubber band, in terms of how the government sees crypto. There is a host of information I have to get over. I have tons of supporting links for you guys because you should always do your own research. And on this channel, I am a professional managing real client money. I have stakes at the table. So first, we have to talk about President Trump and what he's doing. You got the SEC changing completely. Paul Atkins, this goofy little dude, is replacing Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is like the antithesis of crypto. He is the villain. He is the head of the deep state that has their ties to the banking industry. Gary Gensler used to teach crypto and blockchain at MIT. I learned blockchain from Gary. It was a whole MIT semester on YouTube, completely free. Technical. He understands blockchain better than anybody. And he basically lied to Americans for years.
Is the debt box case the reason why the SEC's head of crypto asset and cyber unit resigned in June, sir?
No, they went to take another job.
Okay, so no one in a senior level position here in Washington, D.C. has been held responsible for this complete abuse of taxpayer dollars. The SEC broke the law, your attorneys lied to the court, and no one in your leadership here in D.C. has been held accountable. That tracks. Seems like business as usual here in Washington.
Because he contradicts himself in those videos. And if you go on Twitter, there's tons of people that are like, Gary in 2016, Gary in 2024. Trump's day one mission was to fire Gary Gensler. He promised us that. He did. And he replaced, well, actually, Gary technically resigned, but you get the idea. He then appointed Paul Atkins as the chairman of the SEC.
Tokenization is an innovation. And we at the SEC should be focused on how do we advance innovation in the marketplace. And so I would argue here over the last several years, the SEC has been standing athwart efforts to innovate in the marketplace because things have been unclear. The rules have not been clear. We've had regulation through enforcement. That day is over.
The really exciting part, next to him being way better than Gary Gensler, anything is better than Gensler, he also is a co-chair of the Token Alliance, a cryptocurrency advocacy group for the Chamber of Digital Commerce. And he served on the board of Securitize Inc. Securitize is the company that took BlackRock's BUIDL token live on Ethereum. They basically are tokenizing securities. Securitize. He is a crypto native. That's what I want you to understand. A veteran and an expert in the cryptocurrency space. Before, we had Gary Gensler, who was an expert in blockchain, but literally had his pockets lined with Democrats implementing full force choke point 2.0.
The email from Warren's economic policy advisor includes a list of questions. Get this, a list of questions that Senator Warren planned to ask, along with suggested answers for the chairman of the SEC. The advisor also wrote, quote, "Let me know if you're okay with the questions as currently written."
And we'll get into that in a second. Just so you can see what I'm talking about, this is all of the cases that the SEC opened against crypto. That's crypto 2.0. We're going to regulate by enforcement because no legislation will get passed. So that's what they were doing. Now Paul Atkins is the exact opposite. He is gasoline on the fire where Gary was water. You can think of it that way. Next, we have Hester Pierce, appointed by Trump in his first term and is pro-crypto. She is one of two chairpersons or chairpeople at the SEC. It's ran by like 5 people. It's how they vote on everything. She's one of the chairwomen. She would dissent, meaning she would oppose every single decision that Gary Gensler would make. She would vehemently oppose it. You can go read her dissent opinion letters that she'll write after something didn't go her way.
And this is why people have been coming to us and saying we need clarity. Is the token itself a security? Or is it part of an investment contract?
She's been an advocate for blockchain as a vehicle to open up financial inclusion and independence to anyone in the world, including the poorest of Americans. She is pro-liberty, pro-self-sovereignty on chain. With Paul Atkins at the head of the SEC, she has full permission to completely go after every single case I showed you.
We didn't have a clear set of rules
there were a lot of questions about how this particular activities in the crypto space intersected with our existing securities laws. And so we're trying to take a step back, use our regulatory tools to write those rules, and then enforce those rules.
And file for dismissal on all the ones that don't make sense in her opinion. And by the way, it's over 70%. She's been on a podcast saying those numbers, that she thinks 7 out of 10 of these cases don't need to exist because these aren't securities. They just fail the Howey test. That's bullish, guys. And then you have Brian Quinten's at the CFTC. So if they're not securities, what are they? They're commodities. When they are commodities, they would be under this man's jurisdiction in the regulatory scope of the CFTC. This gentleman, the head of policy at A16Z Crypto, Andreessen Horowitz Cryptocurrency Arm. This gentleman is also a native to the crypto industry, worked in crypto venture capital. Think about that. This is a crypto VC in charge of the CFTC. We went from burning in hell to chilling in a hot tub sipping Mai Tais, guys. This is crazy. So you have these 3 people in all of the regulatory bodies from Trump openly taking a chainsaw to choke point 2.0 and everything that Gary Gensler and the Democrats were trying to do.
We are ending Operation Choke Point 2.0.
They are reversing all of it. Here's another article talking about some of the biggest legislation that they are striking. This is just proof of what I'm talking about. This is Hester Pierce's work. Essentially, Coinbase is off the hook. More and more exchanges are going to IPO. Bracken's probably next. Robinhood was able to buy Bitstamp. I even think someone bought Bakkt as well, which is another exchange. The crypto markets are opening up to this friendlier environment. You're seeing hundreds of treasury companies come out. People literally just saying, hey, I'm going to put Bitcoin on my balance sheet, buy my stock. They're repeating the Saylor strategy. You have treasury companies, so IPOs on LLCs that are just holding Ethereum and all this other stuff. Solana. I've even seen a Fetch and a Tau treasury company. People are bringing tokens to the public markets through public companies. Thanks to all of this. This is incredibly bullish for net new demand. And XRP got dropped. So all of the biggest lawsuits that everyone's been talking about and really excited about being dropped are being dropped. Now let's turn our focus to Trump directly. Trump is doing crazy things with executive orders, y'all. The first thing is Executive Order 14178. It removed all of Choke Point 2.0. Just a blanket, took it out back, did its thing to Choke Point 2.0. You know what I mean? That is incredible. He also established a PWG, is what I guess the acronym would be, but a working group on digital asset markets, and that is part of the appointments that we talked about. He has an advisory group specifically for crypto. Lawyers, some of the biggest players in the world. He just calls the CEOs of the leading technologies and gets educated through this group. The second one is the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. So he signed an executive order that we're going to start buying crypto as a government, first with Bitcoin, but eventually more. He wants ADA, XRP. He wants to create an actual crypto strategic reserve for the federal government. And it starts by not selling what they've seized, like from the Silk Road and other illegal activities, but they want to actually add to that stockpile. Then, just recently, he signed one that allows people to hold crypto in 401ks and removes, and I'm going to get on my high horse real quick here. As a fund manager, I am unable to get my product, my fund, on Fidelity or Schwab because we're crypto. Even when I have advisors willing to sponsor me and they have client dollars that want allocated to my fund, we are unable to get on their platforms because we're crypto. Meanwhile, they offer crypto products as securities. So what they're effectively doing is stopping the average Joe from getting direct token exposure in their retirement accounts. Trump has reversed that completely. He wants to remove every single barrier to getting crypto products in the hands of American citizens. So this actually directly affects my business, and I could not be happier about this. Absolutely. This is a massive win because there is trillions of dollars locked, about $9 trillion locked in American retirement accounts. That's $9 trillion of net new TAM, if you will, for the cryptocurrency market. Now, if the executive orders weren't enough, because you gotta remember, those are just the sprinkles. That's just the seed that you put in the dirt. What sprouts is legislation. And then once legislation gets passed, and he has the House and the Senate, that's enshrined until someone can reverse it, which is a difficult thing to do. Trump's doing that, but that's because he has every single branch, except for the judicial branch. For the first 2 years of his term, he's gonna be able to do whatever the hell he wants. First of which is the Genius Act. This is basically a stablecoin bill that is going to allow, and if you guys have been watching crypto, this is basically the stable bill from 2 years ago with some modifications to make it bipartisan. This passed almost 70%. And it is determining who can issue stablecoins and who cannot. It also issues, basically you need to custody 1-to-1 T-bills for every dollar deposited. So this is a vehicle for the United States to issue more debt and get more demand for their T-bills, which have been struggling. The dollar has dropped almost 11% in the past 18 months. That causes capital flight. People don't want our debt if the dollar is being devalued in real time. And if you look at Tether, they're like in the top 5 most T-bills. They have hundreds of billions of dollars of T-bills. It's pretty incredible. So these stablecoin issuers actually are huge buyers of our T-bills, which is why this is bipartisan. This should help our economy. And for crypto, this means we're going to have more stablecoins on chain. Now, in traditional markets, when you have cash on the side, that usually is bearish, meaning people are not wanting to buy at these prices and they're waiting for a dip. In crypto, if you have stable coins on chain, it's actually a good thing because that means that's liquidity that's on chain that can be used to do tons of things. Go play a game, do DeFi, NFTs, meme coins, alts, strategic investing for retirements in the top 10 or top 20, tons of different things. Stable coins are dollars available for tokens. So that's good. As stable coins grow, so too does the market cap of crypto. There's a direct correlation to that. So it's actually a very bullish thing. He got that passed. What's next is the Clarity Act, which is the Fit 21 bill with some concessions. But essentially, what it does is it determines if a token is a security or a commodity predicated on one key fact. Is this protocol, community, project, whatever, owned by a single party, either a person or an entity, 20% or more? If one entity owns the protocol at 20%, it is a security. Everything else is a commodity. It's just drawing the line down the middle using decentralization, which makes every crypto native excited, but using decentralization as the line in the sand, which is incredibly reasonable. This is looking to have bipartisan support. And guess what, guys? It doesn't really matter because we have crypto veterans running both. The final one is there's the Clarity Act, and then the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which is in the works, right? It was introduced during Crypto Week back in July. In general, means the government cannot develop their own private blockchain and issue dollars on it, which is a central bank digital currency. And central bank digital currencies are a vector of control for the government. And look how people are developing this. Full on pilot here, a lot of research, some are even launched. And when you start looking into all of this, what CBDCs allow our government to do, since tokens are programmable money, you can program any condition into the actual dollar by the dollar. They could do, and China does this and has done this in a few different provinces. They've tested this. So these are real cases. Shenzhen trials, you should look into that. One of the cases would be, we want to keep our Americans healthier. So we're going to disallow more than 4 packs of cigarettes a month. So you get 1 pack a week. That's all you get. You get 30 beers a week or something like that. They could just stop every transaction above a limit. They could say, hey, if you don't spend 10% of what you earn this month, we're going to burn it, meaning delete it from your account. So you might as well spend it to spur the economy. That is real. And Trump, and not only is it real, it's already deployed in some places. And they're piloting it in all of these more, left-leaning countries, centralized countries, more authoritarian countries. He does not want that in America at all. He's introducing something that protects us from this, which couldn't be more bullish. And then if you look at him directly, he owns World Liberty Financial, which is a DeFi platform. A DeFi platform, guys. Our president owns basically a website where you can connect a wallet, deposit crypto, and do DeFi on top of Aave through an interface that his team built that is super intuitive and feels like a brokerage account. So he has obfuscated or hidden blockchain technology in an app and is our president of the United States he's an actual DeFi founder, essentially. That right there could not be even more bullish, to have a president that has a DeFi company. He also issues NFTs. Look at that. He's got NFTs and he's got meme coins. And not only does he have meme coins, his family has meme coins. His wife has a meme coin. His children are on the board of World Liberty Financial. They run it. They are crypto natives. The whole family is heavily invested in the crypto business. Trump is not someone that does something outside of his own interests. So you're on the side of him and all of this other stuff. This is causing a huge stink, by the way. Democrats hate this, but mainly because, foreign people, Justin Sun being one of them, bought a lot of the coin just so he could meet President Trump. And Democrats don't really like that. And I kind of agree with that. But in general, all of this is incredibly bullish. If all of that didn't get you excited about crypto, okay, you also have to think about what he's doing. He wants rate cuts so bad.
Well, I'd love him to lower interest rates. But other than that, what can I tell you?
Like a bee with honey. And, well, I guess, a bee with pollen. He desperately wants rate cuts. Powell is not cutting. And it's actually a very good thing that Powell is not cutting rates, because we have a lot of cracks in our financial system right now. Our banks are insolvent to the tune of $500 billion, roughly. Meaning if we all clamored for our deposits, there was a black swan or a scare, and we all wanted our money, the banks they'd be bankrupt. We have the housing market cracking, more inventory. I mean, it's doubling month over month. It's crazy. Similar to 08. We have 12% delinquencies on commercial mortgages. We have the bond market, the repo market, which is where the central banks prop up their own economies by buying their own bonds to create demand for them. That is increasing, which means there's less demand for the rest of the world investing in American debt. The dollar's down from its peak of 131 to 99, meaning it has dropped almost 10% a year, and it's already down 10% in Q3. So there is a lot of warnings. And then the job reports with AI and everything else, we're going to feel that eventually. The tariff should offset some of that, but it's not enough. These are all things that are bad. What Powell wants to do, and you got to remember, central banks, Powell, the Fed, they're reactive. They need to see something happen before they do something. And Powell sees trouble. If he cuts too early, that's basically like, let's say you have 15 rounds in a magazine. He's got 4.5 or 450 basis points, 4.5%. That's how many rounds he has. And then when you get down to zero, there's nothing else you can do to stimulate an economy. So he needs to protect the downside. He needs to hold that ammunition for when the economy really starts hurting. Right now, we have markets topping. There's a lot of bullish indicators, but there is cracks in it. So he is worried. He's thinking longer. He wants to see the economy turn around and start going down. Then he'll cut rates and it'll go back up. But Trump wants him to cut rates right now. And I think Trump wants him to cut rates right now because he's injecting $4 trillion of debt. And the only way that he can get out of that situation and actually reduce the deficit and do everything he promised us is to grow out of it. Because the way our government works, we as individuals, we're a part of an entity, essentially, and that entity's revenue is the GDP. That GDP is used as assets, and then the government takes collateral against the GDP to the Fed to get money. So we're 123 when he gets in. He said he's going to bring it down to 103% over. The example would be if you have a $100,000 house, you are leveraged $123,000. He said he was going to get it down to 102, 103. And now with $4 trillion, he has pushed it to 130. So he's increased our deficit by 7%, not reduced it. Doge is basically useless at the moment. The only reason he is confident doing that is he believes our GDP is going to have a meteoric increase from AI. And he's basically saying we're going to grow past the debt issuance. And that's how he wants to close the gap. You can't do that with higher interest rates. He is putting a pressure cooker onto Powell to get Powell to leave so he can get someone in there that'll cut rates day one. When rates get cut on top of everything else, I could see crypto melt your face. I really could. This could be the famous last leg of the bull run, 4-year cycle that everyone talks about. So we're going to outperform Bitcoin. Bitcoin might have another 30, 40, 50% in it, but all of the alts could be doing 50% a week in some instances. In the last bull market this occurred, we saw almost $1 trillion enter the alt market and leave the alt market all inside of a year. So it's a very volatile and scary time, but exciting. And I think Trump has set the stage for all of that with everything we've covered here today. I love it. I'm super pumped about it. I've been building and building and building for years to capitalize on this, and I am very confident. There are bear signs, but we are long, and the effects of what he is doing will not be felt in the market for some time. This stuff takes a year or two to really be cemented. You know, it has to settle. But all of this is increasing investor confidence, builder confidence. It's all bullish. Be bullish, y'all. Do not bet against this stuff, in my opinion. I am grateful to be doing what I'm doing. Hopefully this has been helpful to you guys. If it has been, make sure you click the old subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. We put a lot of effort and time into this channel, and we're almost at 2K, y'all, which is a big milestone for us. We post educational content specifically to help you get educated in this space. If you like content like this, share with your friends, hit the sub button, hit like, and if you want a video from me on a topic, drop it in the comments. We'll make one for you. And until next time, take care of one another. Peace and love. I'll see you.